All right, so next up is file searching and paging. As you will notice here, we no longer have the Finder window open. We are going to be going all terminal from now on, okay? So we have our food directory here. When we ls it, there's nothing in here. That is where we are now. I trashed those last two files that were in there, and we're going to jump off from here. So another command I'm going to teach you guys about today is cat. So if we touch file.txt, we've created an empty file. We can cat file.txt. Cat file.txt will open the file and show us what's inside it. It will print the contents of the file to the screen. That's beautiful. There's nothing in the file, it's an empty file, so it's not super useful right now. But there is a file on my system that we can cat that has a lot of useful stuff in it, and I will show you what that is. It is user share dict words. This may or may not be on your system. It's going to be there if you have a Mac. I'm going to run this, and there's going to be a lot of output here. So I'm going to hit Control-L, we're going to clear the screen, and we're going to run this. There we go, a lot of output, but if I scroll, take a look at this. There is a lot of stuff here. There are a lot of words here. So this is basically a word dictionary. It just has a ton of words in it, which are going to be useful for me to kind of show some of these concepts. So let's go ahead and do this. So now that we have cat user share dict words, what can we do with it? Well, the first thing we can do is we can search for it. You know, we have like find, like if I go to this, I can hit Control F and I can start typing something in here. So I could search for like Dave, and it will find every instance of Dave in there. That's awesome, but that's my terminal. That's iterm2 doing that. I would like to be able to do that from bash. Is that possible? Of course it's possible. I'm going to introduce you to a lot of concepts here, but let's start slow. Instead of using cat, we can use something else. So I'm going to go all the way here. I'm going to go to the beginning of the line. We're going to swap this out for grep. Grep is a program to search a file or an input stream for some sort of pattern. So grep, the pattern we're looking for is Dave, and the file we're trying to read from is user share dict word. So when I run this, we get the file output, but it's been filtered. It's been filtered for only lines that have Dave somewhere in it. Notice that it doesn't necessarily have to start with Dave. It could be cadaver. That's pretty cool. But it has to have Dave in it somewhere. So what can we do with this? Well, we could anchor it. So we have Dave here. I could put quotes around this. The quotes won't change anything. The quotes will just stop bash from interpreting any special characters. And one of the special characters I'm going to use is this little character, the caret, C-A-R-E-T. I put this, and this means match the beginning of the line. That's what this character means. It's special. It says it has to match the beginning of the line. So if I rerun this, look, it only matched lines that start with Dave. So that's cool. And of course, there are other patterns we can do. Instead of checking that it starts with Dave, we could check that it ends with Dave. You can use a $sign. $sign signifies the end of the line. Nothing matched. That was a failure because nothing ends with Dave like that. But something has to end with, I don't know, ly. I'm sure we'll get a lot of words like that. Hey, here we go. Here's all the words that end in ly. That's kind of cute. That's kind of neat. Cool. So now that we have a little bit of grep under our belt, we don't have all the patterns there yet, but we can work our way up to it. Let's show what we can do with it, okay? Here's some quick little examples. We can make our own file. So we've done this a million times. Touch file.txt, and there we go. Now we have a blank file named file.txt. You know how we can echo? We can say echo hello, and there shows up hello to the screen. That's super nice. We can redirect it. And I'll talk more about this later, but for now, we can do this. So what's going to happen is bash is going to run this command, and instead of printing it to the screen, it's going to go there. So greater than means to overwrite. So it'll overwrite whatever's in file.txt. There's nothing there, so don't worry about it. We're going to overwrite the contents of file.txt with what the echo command printed, which was hello. So now if we cat file.txt, we get hello. Hey, that's awesome. That's how we can write to files very simply with bash. And then using that, we can put more in there. So we echoed hello. What if we echoed, I don't know, let's do like the letter A, and we put it into file.txt. Well, if we cat file.txt, now it just has the letter A. Remember, we overwrote some data. So that's not great. Let's go ahead, let's press up. Let's get back here. Let's write hello into file.txt. So if we cat file.txt, we get this. Let's echo A into file.txt, but let's use this notation. The double greater than notation, this means append. So it will create the file if it doesn't exist, and it will basically put data in the file even if the file doesn't exist. But in the case where the file exists, it will append it to the file. So if I run this and then we cat file.txt, we can see that we have hello, and then we have A underneath it. That's super cool. That's super awesome. So now we could do something like, let's echo B into file.txt. Let's echo C into file.txt. So if we cat file.txt, we have this. That's super awesome. So let's go back and do some of our grep. So we can cat the file, that's great, but we can also grep. So say we wanted to grep B out of file.txt. Well, there it is. There was only one line that matched B, and it was just that one line with B on it. That's super nice, but what if we wanted some context around it? Here's some useful flags for grep. I find these super useful like during my day-to-day with it. Let's say we wanted to find B, but we also wanted to get one line after B. So we want to find every time B shows up, but we also want to get one line after it. We can specify the after to 1. So that means find B and then also print one line after it. The opposite of this, of course, instead of after is before. So we could find B, but then also print the line before it. That's super nice. And the final one, which is nice, I love their ABC, that's why I named them this way, we can do a -C of 1. C is for context. So we're getting one line of context both above and below C. This is super useful when you're searching through files because sometimes you might know you're looking for a keyword, but what you actually want is like 3 lines below it. I can specify, hey, I want the after of 3, and then I'm good to go. Super useful, love it, I think it's great. All right, so let's go ahead and put some more data in that file. We can echo Dave into file.txt. Notice the tab complete works for the name of the file, super convenient. We could also echo all caps Dave into file.txt. And now, let's search for it. Let's grep for Dave in file.txt. Okay, we only found one line. That makes sense, right? Let's grep case-insensitively with -I for Dave. And now we found both lines. So -I, super useful to grep, basically says case-insensitive, super, super useful. There's another one that's super useful I like is grep-O. Grep-O means only print the parts that have matched the pattern. So I could do something like this. I could say, I want to look for a line that starts with D and then matches any character. So I can put a dot, and a dot means any character. So that's a little bit confusing, but I want the line to start with a D and then have any other character to the right of that D. So when I run it, we get DA because it matched Dave, but it only printed the part that matched. That's what -O does. It means only print the part that matches. You can combine arguments. So I can say -O and -I. So I want to do a case-insensitive search of the same thing. Notice that it matches both DA and uppercase DA. You might also see arguments like this when it takes multiple flag arguments. You can specify them together. -OI will give you the same result, and -IO will give you the same result. That basically just means multiple flags combined into one, but this is the same thing. That's what's going on here. The order of the flags doesn't matter. I'll refer to them as arguments or flags. Typically flags when they're sort of like a Boolean, yes or no, true or false. So I is case-insensitive, true or false. O is only true or false. So that's kind of how I think of it. That's why I'm doing it this way. So now I'm going to tease something very cool that is super powerful with Bash. And if you've heard of Bash, you've probably heard of this. And why is it taking me so long to get there? We're building our way up. Don't worry. We're going to talk about pipelines. Pipelines in Bash are amazing. They are super powerful. It is what makes Unix just so powerful. It's incredible. So I can cat file.txt. We can also pipe this data to another program. Now that might sound kind of confusing. What are we going to do? Well, let's pipe it to grep. And let's look for Dave. And then remember how grep takes the name of a file as this argument? Let's not give it. Let's not give it. We don't want to give it the name of the file. Grep is going to read from this pipeline instead. If we don't give grep the name of the file, it will read from what's called its standard input, and its standard input will be cat in this case. I'll talk more about pipelines later, but if we run this, we get the same result that if we just grep for Dave out of the file. So this is super useful because we can start taking data from the left that's large and distilling it into smaller data. So if you remember, we had user share dict words. This is a very large file. Let's grep for Dave insensitively. There we go. Here are all the ones that match Dave. Okay, that's awesome. I kind of want to care about the ones that maybe have ly in it. Okay, only one matched. What about ones that just have the letter A in it? Well, no, they all have the letter A because of Dave. What about the ones that have the letter I in it? There you go. So as you can see, you can kind of treat these like filters. It's like going through a sieve or something. Like we start with something very large and we pare it down a little bit. We pare it down a little bit. This is super useful. This makes interacting on the terminal just so incredibly powerful. And if you're thinking, Dave, really? This is all the time you're going to dedicate to pipelines? Don't worry. They will show up so much more during the duration of this course. This is like a main point of power with the shell in general. I'll teach you some of the Bash specific stuffs, but just the Bourne shell or POSIX shell having pipes, it's just incredible. What an amazing abstraction. What an amazing concept.